afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to announce that I'm here with the doctor himself, Dr. Errol Cort, Minister of National Security, Labor and Immigration. Am I correct in saying that? All right. We're here celebrating our third year in our second term. And as you can recall, in our first term, Brother Cort served as a Minister of Finance and Economy. And all the civil servants would know, to include the police and the teachers and so forth, that he was able to raise necessary funds to pay, back pay, promised to the workers going back to 1994 and so forth. He truly delivered back then. Now he's on a new portfolio. He has been serving in this ministry for the last 3 years. Well, Doc, first of all, let me say it was a happy anniversary to you, the officers of the party. And what can you tell us now? It's 3 years now in the second term. What plans you have going forward? Bring us up to date as to what you're doing now in the ministry.
Let me say a pleasant good afternoon to you, Greg, and to all the folks here at Crusader Radio, and to all the listening public. I understand too that this program is being streamed live. And I'm very happy to be here this afternoon. I use this opportunity to say happy third anniversary in the second term to the United Progressive Party government. We've really come a long way since 2004. And I'm pleased that we're able to celebrate today in the style and manner in which we're doing. In the Ministry of National Security and Labor, we continue to press ahead with our agenda. There are many issues, many things going on in that ministry. In particular, we are well underway in terms of getting ready to pass the new immigration bill. That is something that we have spoken about for some time. We've had consultations, wide consultations on those issues. And we have received a first draft from the legal drafts person. We've gone through that draft and made the necessary suggested amendments. So I'm hoping sometime during the course of this month we will receive the final draft and get it ready for Parliament. So that's well underway, and that clearly will be a significant bit of legislation because it will deal with a number of issues in terms of repealing the whole law in respect to temporary residence and creating several new categories of residencies, and really taking the immigration situation forward in a manner in which the people of this country would have suggested back when we had the consultation. So I'm really looking forward to that bit of legislation coming to Parliament. We're also doing a lot of work in the whole area of labor. Many a times, or I would probably say most times, when I come on public radio, we tend to concentrate solely on the portfolio of police and defense and security, really the national security part of the portfolio. And sometimes we forget that the labor part is also very important. And I recently held a meeting with the National Labor Board, that was last week Tuesday, to look on the progress in respect of the proposed amendments to the Antigua and Barbuda Labor Code, a very important and critical bit of legislation, and also in terms of how we are advancing with our health and safety legislation and the workmen's compensation legislation. I really would love to be able to take to Parliament as a package the comprehensive proposed amendments to the Antigua and Barbuda Labor Code, the new health and safety legislation, and the workmen's compensation legislation, so that we have these three critical bits of legislation going to Parliament at the same time, all dealing with labor issues. My meeting with the National Labor Board was very productive. They are well advanced in terms of the health and safety legislation, and as you know, they would have done a lot of work in respect to the amendments to the Labor Code, and I'm hoping within the next 2 to 3 weeks we would be able to resume the presentation at the level of the Cabinet in respect of these proposed amendments to the Antigua and Barbuda Labor Code. So a lot of work is taking place in the whole area of labor. As you may recall, the government had appointed 3 eminent individuals to assist in the backlog of hearing matters at the Labor Department, Sir Keithlin Smith, Mr. David Jonas, and Mr. Henderson Bass. And they have been doing some good work. As with everything, you have some challenges, though, where folks may not turn up for hearings and so on. But I'm very pleased that the work these 3 eminent individuals are doing is certainly advancing the whole quest to reduce the backlog of cases at the Labor Department. So we are really focusing on the workers in this country and trying to make sure that we give them their just due. That's just a little snippet in terms of what's happening, Greg.
One of the burning issues amongst Antiguans, Dr. Cort, is the whole issue of immigration. And we know back in the day that it was a sort of an open sesame situation. People just come into the country and remain here without anybody policing the whole situation and so forth. What Antiguans would like to know if that system still exists, because some of them believe it does exist still, if there's a more rigid way of protecting our borders, so to speak, so that nationals are being protected with their jobs and so forth.
I would say that the Immigration Department certainly would have tightened up over the past several years in terms of illegal persons being allowed to remain in Antigua and Barbuda. There are a number of systems in place. There's an enforcement division in place that would go out and ensure that persons who are not legally persons who do not have the requisite legal status are not allowed to remain in the country. So a lot of work is taking place in that particular area. I would say, though, that there are some challenges that we need to examine and make a determination policy-wise how we deal with them. And I raise in particular the challenge in respect of a number of minors who would have come to the country many years, would have gone through the school system. They are now matured individuals, and they never had their status regularized during that period. The question now has to be a policy question. How do you treat with those persons? Let me give you an example. Just about a week or so ago, a parent of a child came to the ministry and indicated that this child came into the country in 1995. The child would have gone through primary school, secondary school, never went to immigration, never got any stamped in the passport, nothing at all. I'm not even sure if the child would have had any current passport from the country to which the child was born. However, in 2008, the child was able to get a passport from the country of birth. There's no stamp in that passport. And in actual fact, as I think about it a little further, when the child came into the country, the child came in on the parent passport.
Okay.
So that child never had a passport. Parent never came in to get any extensions or seek to regularize in any way. Child went through the entire school system. Child then applied to country of birth in 2008, got a passport. The passport is blank.
Okay.
How do you deal with that kind of situation?